All right, team, welcome back to After Hours. We're going to have a great show today. And if you were looking for a Casper Yap Sesh, you're absolutely going to get it today because we are going to have the number one Yap Sesh about Casper probably on the internet today. We're going to do it today for you because it's a big week. It's IBM TechXchange week. And so I'm going to channel my inner Daniel Habib when he, previews the jobs report. I'm going to channel Daniel Habib and preview the IBM TechXchange this week. Me and Matt are going to get into it because there's a lot to talk about. We weren't here last week for After Hours, so we didn't really get to talk about the AMA and the DeFi call and all the things that's happened in the past couple weeks. And we did preview on the Ask Maddie show last week just about the board and some of our quick thoughts, but we're probably going to cover it in depth here. So you're going to want to stay until the end. We're going to be talking about everything you need to know about Casper, the board transition, the course correcting of the vision, very important there. That we're probably going to spend a majority of our time there because you guys might be getting lost in the sauce here about all this change stuff, what's going on, where, and we're going to get into that and break it down for you in a simple fashion. Give a little DeFi update, stablecoins, the IBM Tech Exchange preview, Casper charting. That's probably where we're going to end up for today, Matt. I doubt we'll get to some Ripple news, but if we do, we might talk about Chris Larson donating XRP to Kamala Harris, because I know you guys like those political topics, and that was with XRP, and I saw it on everywhere. I was like, okay, well, this is like a topic we would cover, so I just threw that in there. If we have enough time, we'll get to it. This is After Hours, and before we get into our content today, team, it's very important you become a CryptoCharge member. We are from CryptoCharge.com. Matt, share what we got going on at CryptoCharge.
Yeah, so cryptocharge.com, we give you guys a lot of resources there. So of course, everyone's got educational resources. We try to have, even in the last year, try to create some more condensed information for you guys to get jump started if you guys are new in the space. Even if you're not new in the space, just kind of getting you guys better, attuned with our strategy. We give you guys updates Monday through Friday. So, we're doing those updates for you guys, going over the charts, 4 times a week or so. Give you guys a macro update on Tuesdays from our macro expert, Dan Habib. We have the Discord for you guys. You can get in there, ask questions. We also have the coin library, which is probably one of the favorite features that our team has because it's the ability to see our projected entry points, which are updated regularly, our 3-part TP plan, a very, very detailed analysis that I've recently kind of switched the format on to give you guys a better understanding of like what we're looking for with support and resistance, moving averages, Fibonacci's, and that's all very detailed for you guys in there. So all of that comes with a 30-day free trial if you guys use code YouTube as well as 50% off. So please, I encourage you guys to check it out. Don't wait until the bull run's kicking off for you guys to get involved. I saw what happened last cycle when people tried to scramble into the top of the bull. It's a big mess. Don't do it, guys. Get involved now. Come check us out. 30 days go by. You're like, hey, this is not for me. Shoot me an email. Get you guys squared away. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but I at least would love for you guys to check out our platform.
I love that, Maddie. And team, if you are a regular YouTube watcher of crypto content, you'll notice that we do things a little bit differently here. Okay, so people will shill their t-shirt brand or, whatever they're getting paid for by a company or, buy a wallet they'll share, use my code for this. We are literally shilling our company right now where we do crypto education, right? So we're coming to you to break down some important educational pieces if you are a part of the Casper community today. And if you want more in depth here, hey, listen, we talk a lot about utility tokens. We only talk about utility tokens here. But if you want that bigger breakdown, you got to go to CryptoCharge. Maddie does a bunch of shows a week, and you have the Discord, you have all those tools so that you can be the most educated, right? We, on these shows during the week, we really want to just talk about things we care about, right? And
Right.
Seemingly you guys like to hear those things too. And so that's why we're here today. So when we're talking about, this new board transition, we talk about this in the Discord, and that's really where we keep it. But for this, we want to talk about with you guys because it is important. And this might be a little change in trajectory here, a little pivot point in Casper right now. And we're going to get into it, but first things I kind of want to say here, team, is some of you may be confused, right? So last week I was like, hey guys, association, the labs, look at those two entities and figure out what's the difference between those two. I gave you guys a little bit of homework, and now if you did that, you'll reap the benefits today because we're going to talk about that a little bit because it is important, right? And as a Casper holder, Casper Labs was in control here, right? Their developers were in control of the network, right? So let's break it down right here, Matt, for them. Casper Association, Casper Labs, right? The association houses the network, the protocol, and the POS token, or CSPR. The labs is for enterprise adoption. It is a for-profit company, right? The association is a non-profit in Switzerland, and then you have the for-profit Casper Labs over here, right? And so they're trying to bring enterprise level adoption, but they create software, guys. They have a goal and they're trying to make money over there, right? And that's great and all. And I loved buying into this idea of the Casper network, and with it being utilized by labs. But the problem is that the vision kind of gets a little bit confusing, right? Michael Storr, CTO at the association, was kind of like, Casper Labs has been in this convoluted kind of weird situation for the past year. And if you look at it, it really has been. Labs was in control, and people like me and you, Matt, are Casper token holders, okay? And so when we have issues, people like us, we don't do this, but people like us that are token holders, they look at Miranel, the CEO of Labs, and they're like, Miranel, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, guys, Miranel doesn't care about us. Why? Because he is the dictator. He is the Casper Labs dictator, okay? And honestly, we've been in a dictatorship where he doesn't care about what he has to say. Maddie, after this video, Casper Labs is not going to rock with us. I'm just telling you that right now. But Miranel is a dictator, and whatever he says goes over there because he is at Labs, and he's running that part. He doesn't care about what we got going on. He doesn't care about us Casper token holders, okay? And so of today's video, Matt, we're going to get into this new board transition, okay? Because there's new governance, there's new people in the interim board that is important, right? And just to kind of throw it to you, Matt, are you a little bit skeptical about this new board transition for Casper?
I'm personally not skeptical of it. I'm actually, very bullish on the individuals that we've put in this new board here. I think that we've had a lot more community interaction. I know that even, just recently on X, we've had, Michael going through and really kind of retweeting some of the people that are being educators in the space that are providing good value and making sure to recognize them. I think we're seeing a very different approach than what we've seen over the last, even year and some change here with Casper. Now, again, I always try to separate the tech from the people, right? Just kind of like when we see our favorite artists get canceled, you're not going to go toss that album away because you're like, oh, damn it, like, they're in trouble for this now. But, I try to do the best that I can with separating, the people from the technology. But I do think it's a very nice change in pace to see people that are more vocal, people more transparent, people that care more about, the true community questions. And that doesn't mean that, every time the community has a mild concern or they see some nonsense on a garbage Twitter page that, we have a responsibility to, hold an entire press conference about that particular issue. But I do think that on a regular basis, we should be holding, AMAs like we are and getting down into the in-depth questions. And I think that's what we've seen so far with this new board is we've seen a lot more transparency and a lot more involvement. So that makes me happy.
I like that, Maddie. And, I'm still developing in that, you separate the tech from the people. And I've always said it's really about the who, right? It's not about the when. When is this all going to take place? All this software is going to be used by companies. It's not about the why. It's about the who. Who's behind this that's propelling all of this, right? And so when I look at Hex, Richard Hart, not a good who. When I look at BitBoy and his token, not a good who. When I look at some of these people that I can't buy into that are not going to lead their networks, I'm not going to get into it, right? Because if they're scammy, if they have a weird background history, there's someone in the Casper meme coin token that created a meme coin, and he's got a sketchy creation of meme coins in the past or cryptos that were trying to be utility, and the token just fell flat and led into oblivion, right? And so those are people I don't want to get behind, right? I want to get behind people that I can trust in that are going to lead the way, right? And so here's a starter for where we should probably start, Matt, is what's made up Casper different than every other crypto project and network, right? So for the past year, Casper Labs has been overseeing with their developers the network, okay? This is very different than HBAR and even XRP, right? When you look at HBAR, you have the HBAR Foundation looking over the network and the token. When you look at XRPL Foundation, they're looking over the ledger and XRP, right? And this is where people get convoluted and they say, well, Ripple is a big player here. It's well, Ripple is Casper Labs. XRPL Foundation is the association, and then you have all of the things under that, like the token, okay? That's what you need to understand, right? So we were trying to be all these other utility networks, and we were just falling flat because we were under a dictator regime under Mirno, and it was not very good. So now we're changing that. We're changing the governance model. So now that validators and people that actually hold the power of the network can vote them out, right? And so this might be a little funny piece of the show here today, but again, we were under, I might be overusing dictatorship, but really that's what we were under, okay? And so when you look under the new regime, we have three here. We have Matt, Michael, and Pascal. Michael Starr is the one we've talked about a lot, the CTO of the association. We're under a new regime now, all right? We're able to now vote. So these three cats here are part of the new board, all right? There's going to be more later on, but this is the initial three. And they have a term of 1 year. So this time next year, when election season comes around for us Casper people, the validators that hold the power, we can vote them out. So Michael here, I don't want to overstep here. Michael, you've been great to the Crypto Charge community. You retweeted one of our stuff recently, and I'm forever grateful of that because Labs won't do it apparently, but you did it. You gave us some feedback here, so thank you. But let me tell you, Michael, if you fail us, you're out of here. You're getting kicked to the curb, bro. Go kick rocks, right? Because even though we're under a new regime, under new governance with people we can actually look at like Michael, if you fail us, bro, you're out of here, all right? Because we're done, all right? We had a whole year of people that we couldn't rely upon, all right? We had even like Kevin Cage and Cash, all these people will be like, hey, we could not rely on the people at Casper Labs being a Casper token holder. Now we have Michael Starr. Hey, I'm going directly to you, bro. All the AMAs, you did the DeFi call. I can go to you if I have a problem. And of course, you can have the new forum that they created, the Casper Network Forum. If you have a problem in our developer or want to develop on the Casper Network, you can go on there. If you have a problem with how Casper is and you say, hey, the inflation is too bad on Casper, throw out that problem, but offer a solution on there, okay? And so this is what I like about this, Matt, because we're under a new regime now, okay? And, you know, dictatorship could be cool if we get the right dictator. You know, BitBoy was like the dictator figure, or Kevin Hart. Those fell flat. Now we have people we can rely upon.
I think you mean Richard Hart, but I could see maybe Kevin Hart being a...
Did I say Kevin Hart?
You did, but it's all right.
Screw Kevin Hart! No, I'm just kidding.
No short comedians on our show.
That's funny. Thank you for that, Matt. Definitely interject because I get way too passionate. I start throwing out names, and I need to be precise. But yeah, Michael, we can rely upon him now. So those people out there, those Casper token holders that were like, I can't rely on Miranel. It's like, well, now you have Michael Starr, right? And this is the change, right? So the association board that wasn't doing us, they stepped down, and now we get a replacement of that, right? And that's why I don't look at it, Matt, as a subtraction. It's really an addition, right? Because these people weren't actually really doing their job before at the network, the nonprofit, you know, association, the one in Switzerland, the Casper Association. So we couldn't rely upon them, right? But now we have Michael in here where we can rely upon him, right? So now the Casper network has a vision, right? So every single month there's going to be DeFi calls, you have the AMAs, and now we're on a path, right? So if Labs, the company, was to fail, I'm out of here, by the way, if that happens. But the purpose is so that Casper Network is its own entity driven by the people. That's us. Labs is using us to create products, right? Like Prove AI, which we care about deeply. And we've brought up before, like, hey, if Prove AI fails, like, what's then? It's like, we'll have that question. If that was to ever arise, I don't think we're going to be even discussing that because this week is a big week for Prove AI. But that's just kind of the context of where I'm coming from, Matt. So I don't see this as a subtraction, but an addition, right? We're under a different regime that's going to be beneficial for us Casper holders, right? And so here's like, they said like the vision for the new Casper network, and it's really like a course correction. You have enhanced community engagement. So that's by Michael Starr with his DeFi calls every single week. He did one last week, which was actually earlier than what I thought. I thought it was going to be after IBM TechXchange, but he did that early, and we're going to have those every single week. The next one's on November 5th. And so that is good community engagement, talking with the validators about Condor or, you know, whether it's like the AMAs we have, he'll be there to speak with us. So we can rely upon him, guys. If you're upset with Miranel, you're going to get to talk to Michael now, okay? Someone we can rely upon. Collaborative development, again, that's with the DeFi calls. Transparent governance, again, new regime change. I don't think we'll cover it today, but it's election season, baby, for us Casper people. We get to elect people that we want. If we don't want them, they're out of there, and the validators get to do that election. We don't get to because I'm not from Casper. I'm just Gavin Lowther. I'm not over there. And then we have some technical advancements, right? So one question, and then I'll throw it back to Matt for about the course correction, is there was a question on the AMA. It was like, what is the Casper Association's role in this new governance structure? The association will continue to serve as the legal and organizational structure for the Casper project, handling aspects such as vendor relations and regulatory requirements. And also, they are focused on the network here, team. And that's what we need, all right? When you buy HBAR, you care about what's going at the HBAR Foundation. When you buy XRP, you care about the XRP ledger. Yes, you care about Ripple, but Matt, they don't own stock in Ripple, all right? They didn't,
Right.
they haven't IPO'd, so you don't own anything in Ripple, all right? You are just buying the Casper token, right? And there were some things that Michael said about that, but I think that kind of rounds about like the team aspect of Casper, right? The team matters. It definitely does matter if we're talking about utility, and this is under new regime that matters for us Casper token holders. And so that's why I said last week, this could be a nothing burger for you, but for some of you, this might be a big piece, or this might be everything to you as it relates to utility, the people behind the Casper network that we can rely upon and not just like talk into the void and not hear anything. Like under Miranel, that dictator, never gonna forgive you, bro. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't really care that much because I just see, like we did from day one here, built for enterprise, Maddie, built for enterprise. So you had a company building software solutions for companies. And then before it was tokenizing real world assets, and you had the IPv thing that fell through. And then 10 months ago, it was like a change towards AI governance, right? That is what they are focusing on. Casper Labs is a software, they create software, right? And they obviously, what was the other thing they do? They do one more thing that I had noted down. I don't know. I have it somewhere else. But Casper Labs is what we cared about for so long, right? But we do need to care about the association and the direction, right? It's like what's getting neglected here is the products that Casper Labs is creating. Is that being neglected, or is the network being neglected? It was the network being neglected. I think I wrote something somewhere. Do I have that somewhere? Yes, I do. This is what I wrote after reading the whole AMA. I said the problem is that Casper Labs is trying to build products for adoption. They're building for enterprise adoption. Now, if that is their focus, do you know what gets neglected? The network. And that kind of encapsulates everything, right? So the network neglection is something that we can't no longer tolerate anymore, okay? We want something new. We want Michael. We want to be able to, if these guys don't do their job, send their ass home. We don't want you anymore, okay? Maddie, anything with there before we get to DeFi? I know you're going to have a lot to talk about with DeFi. Anything about that sounds incorrect, or was I wrong, or am I right? Is the people behind this at the network, the association, does that matter to you at all, or no? Is it just me?
Well, Michael Stewart's got a haircut that I can get behind, so it's already a huge step up here. I'm pretty sure that we should all be able to vote to give Myrtle a new haircut so that we don't look like a bunch of jokers out here. I digress, though. It's an important but delicate balance between having a nonprofit and then having a company that's obviously developing applications and software for profit. And a lot of you guys, sometimes misunderstand the importance of that separation. If we don't have that separation, and you don't have a standalone network, and you don't have a nonprofit that's, again, sincerely does not owe you post-sale obligations, we start to tiptoe back into investment contract and security territory, right? Everything you guys know about crypto goes away if you don't have this separation of a nonprofit, and then you also have a company that's obviously for profit. You're going to have more companies that are more profit that obviously want to build on that network, and they won't always exclusively build on that network, but it's an important separation. And of course, having a very strong nonprofit that's going to be driving the actual development of the network, not just the applications that are being built on the network forward, is an integral piece of a successful network. So, you look at even this example within Hedera, like we talked about, where, you've got a governance council for 3 years, you can re-up for another term, so total of six years total, but you've got to give up your seat, and then there's no coming back, right? You've got the XRPL Foundation, you've got the Grout Foundation, but again, these are all separate entities from Ripple, as well as, just the XRP ledger network in itself. So it's very important that you have a well-armed nonprofit with a vision that's going to drive the network forward. but it's essential to have both, right? Because then if you only have the nonprofit, then you don't have any companies that are building applications. Well, then where's the drive, right? You're just kind of waiting for everyone to come onto your network. So it's a delicate balance that we have to do to keep ourselves out of the security realm, be able to use crypto the way it's meant to be used. Because if you guys think about it, if you guys want to transfer a security like a stock, right? It takes several days, right? Like even if we're looking at an accelerated process, if I want to move my stocks from Charles Schwab over to another brokerage, I have to fill out a form, and it's going to take several days to arrive there, right? Like that completely eliminates the entire ideology behind DLT and crypto. It's supposed to be fast, instantaneous, the ability to be self-bank, self-custody, and all that goes away if you don't have the separation of nonprofit and then for-profit companies. So I do think it's a very positive thing that we're seeing, a refocus and a reorganization on the nonprofit here, because that's what drives the long-term growth of a network.
It's a delicate dance, Maddie. You said it perfectly there. It has to be a delicate dance. Let's talk about some insights from the first Casper DeFi working group call. So this is what Michael Starr promised weeks ago, and we saw it early before the IBM TechXchange. And here's a couple things that you should take notice here. The CTO, being Michael, began the meeting with a little review about the protocol. So this hasn't happened before, by the way. So now we're getting to able to discuss the vision. Why am I stuttering right now, Matt? We're just going on a path here.
You're just so excited.
I'm so excited. And so now we have the association consolidating all the core development responsibilities under the umbrella of the association, right? So the network, the POS token, all of those things are focused now by the association. If I haven't said that enough times already, the association can ensure the team is focused and working on the public network, the core protocol, and the Casper token. And here's actually a look at the current state of DeFi on Casper. So you have everything going on here, and I like how we're working towards the USDC, which I don't think we've talked about yet. As a stablecoin on the Casper network for bridging. Maddie, I have a little question for you. Actually, I'll say this first. This DeFi thing that we are doing here, this call, which is very helpful because we need decentralized finance on the Casper network for more adoption here for the network, because we need to be broad, but we got some focuses here. We're focusing, the company Casper Labs is focusing on solutions for companies like IBM. But as a network, we need to be decentralized, and we need to be able to earn yield. We need to be able to lend. Those are not things that we can do right now, Matt. So why is DeFi necessary on the Casper network?
So, I mean, we can address this obviously specifically to Casper, but I think a lot of people have a terrible a terrible idea of what DeFi truly is. And that's because of all the degeneracy that we've had in the DeFi realm up to this point, right? Like you guys think about the last DeFi cycle, that's not DeFi to me. That's just you guys gambling, in a realm that's just unregulated. True decentralized finance is the ability to do lending, to be able to do borrowing, still with guidelines that offer consumer protections, but without necessarily the need for a first-party intermediary, right? So I want you guys to understand that ideology there. So we look at what Casper is really trying to achieve here. One of the biggest talking pieces you'll hear them talk about is their upgradable smart contracts. And with the Condor update, you're going to have even more flexibility over those smart contracts, as well as potentially reducing the fees associated with those smart contracts. That's going to be very, very powerful. And smart contracts are the heart of decentralized finance. So we can look at large real world assets like real estate, like vehicles. We can also look at other examples which are happening on other networks now, not in the masses yet, but like being able to take things like luxury watches and being able to get an NFT associated with those, and then being able to take out a collateralized loan against that and be able to shop rates against that. And the ability to create customizable and upgradable smart contracts utilizing the Casper network, and again, being able to change the flexibility of the time blocks around those based on what type of products you're potentially looking at in the DeFi realm is very, very powerful. So the faster we get a DeFi environment where people can quickly launch applications, you get marketplaces where people can do plug and play with things that they own, whether it be NFTs or just doing token swaps. And we're not just looking at this crazy yield farming where you're like, hey, put up 500 of Poo token and 500 USDC, and then we'll pay you 500% APY, right? Like that's the lowest form of DeFi you guys could possibly imagine, right? So I want you guys to think more about borrowing and lending, and that's really going to be the heart of DeFi, and that's going to include both RWAs, real world assets, digital assets, assets and just regular fiat, right? We're going to be able to eventually have, whatever, be tokenized fiat, but it's going to be the ability to use foreign currencies, digital currencies, and world assets all in the same contract. That's the true power of DeFi. You pair that with upgradable smart contracts where you can, you create fees and create, contingencies in there that are good for you and your company and your applications. That is an incredibly powerful combination. So we're still in the early stages here, guys. I think that 20 years from now, the average person is going to have interacted with a smart contract at least a few times in their life. But we're still in the early phases of that. So a lot of times it looks like we're speculating. It looks like we're promising the moon and the stars. But we're doing a lot of sandboxing with it right now. You're just not going to turn over the entire financial system overnight. There's a lot of money that's made from the friction in the financial system. So it's going to take time to draw users from a financial system they're comfortable with, even though there's friction in it, to a brand new world that has road bumps and other things that are keeping us from having a perfectly smooth system. So I'm excited about the future of DeFi for Casper. I think it's a hand in glove fit, specifically because of what they're working on with the smart contracts and the fees associated.
Matty, talk about stablecoins on Casper. So we have Casper USD, which is the official stablecoin of Casper, and John Sarson came out and was like, hey, we're lacking the resources to manage it effectively, so they're looking for partners within the ecosystem so they can maintain the peg. But now we got this announcement last week about USDC, right? So what would USDC bring for the Casper network?
Volume, right? It brings volume to the network. If you're able to settle on chain instead of having to settle elsewhere, utilizing a stablecoin you already like, and then just being able to bridge back to your network of choosing, that brings a lot of liquidity to the market. So overall, that's a net positive thing. I know that we also were hearing about the RLUSD stablecoin that's obviously going to launch on XRP first, Ethereum next, but they have had a lot of time to look at the opportunities to bridge and also looking at the different opportunities for interoperability. And I don't think that there's going to be a very big hurdle to get these bridges onto networks like Casper as well. So I think that USDC is more of just like an initial example, but I think we'll have multiple stablecoin options over these coming years on the Casper network, which means more volume being done there. And when you settle those stablecoins on chain, what do you pay that in? You pay that in Casper, right? So that, over long periods of time puts pressure upwards on Casper price.
Very well said, Matty. All right, let's preview IBM TechXchange this week. It starts tomorrow, so I don't have any updates on when Henry Guo is going to be speaking. And once I do, I'll probably tweet it out, so make sure you are following us on X. But this is very important, and I said at the top of the show, this is a very pivotal moment for, I guess, the Casper community, because now we're going to be talking about Casper Labs and their product, Prove AI, which is a tool for AI governance, right? And so this tool was out really a spawn of what happened with IBM and the Watson X governance tool that IBM has. And so this tool is meant to be placed right on top of Watson X governance, but this tool is meant to be used for other companies out there that need to be under regulation and to be able to roll back. And so if there's hate speech, you need to be able to roll it back and go back to previous versions, and so that we can't have things online, this generative AI. What you really have to understand here is, like, previously we've seen a different form of AI, right? We're in the generative AI era, right? And before it was Henry Guo used a particular term. It started with an A. I'm forgetting it right now, but it was just like this kind of AI where it's like this does this, does this, does this, and now we're in the generation era where we get to create, but that is still of the same era, but like 10x, right? And so this is why we need Prove AIs to govern these things, and so that when we saw like what was the what big company was Google or one of these platforms where, like, if you looked up like happy white family, like it was always black families popping up. It was like, what's that about? And so it's like we have to be able to roll that back and fix that, right? And so that is what Prove AI is all about, but it's in other areas, right? And so he kind of gave a nod in this call. It was like an hour-long call, I believe, that I got tagged in, and it was on YouTube, and he kind of got interviewed. This is last week. Henry Guo did, which is the speaker at IBM TechXchange. He was kind of talking about Grayscale AI. He didn't say Grayscale AI by name, but he kind of gave a nod to it. And he was kind of talking about like the intricacies of how that looks, right? Because we were talking about Grayscale AI and what that looked like being minted onto the Casper network. But what does that even look like, right? And in actuality, in like real form utility standpoint, right? Because we talked about, it's to help supply chains, right? But how does that actually look like, right? So they have very enhanced machines with computers. And so on the supply chain, let's just say you have a bag of potato chips. We want to make sure things that aren't supposed to be getting in there aren't, right? Like metals and plastics. If you're like one of these like Santa Cruz Medicinals or not Alex, what's the other? Andrew Huberman whores that has spawned out of this generation, right? That's watching what they eat or whatever. Like you would be on par with this, which is funny, Matt, because these people like smoke cigarettes and like snort a line and then complain about me like, well, you're drinking out of a plastic water bottle. It's like, okay,
Is this
bro.
cocaine gluten free?
It's like, okay, bro, like really? So it's like in that respects, right? Because when you eat a Lay's potato chip, I don't think I want a giant piece of metal in there, right? So on their supply chain, they have these enhanced computers, and like every 30 minutes they do like a challenge test, they call it, and they chuck a piece of metal in it to make sure that their systems are working. And so that's pretty cool, and that's how it works in actuality, right, for these supply chains with food. And this is also for drugs and things that you put in your body, not like but like, you know, drugs that, you know, you go to the doctor for, you know, the medical grade drugs, Maddie, not getting on the street, going straight to my doctor, you know. And so I thought that was pretty cool, but he also talked about code review for IBM, right? So Casper partnered with IBM. They can review their code to able to roll back, kind of what I talked about with the other platform with the, you know, ask for a white family, but you get a black family example, kind of like that. So we're able to, if we're asking for something, we're able to roll that back and get what we're actually looking for. And I thought that was cool. And that's kind of in the realm of Prove AI, the product, and what we're expecting this weekend. So I'm expecting this week, Matt, how this is going to look. I need great demonstrations, right? How long we've been talking about Prove AI, I don't know. It's been months, but I need great demonstrations at the IBM TechXchange this week. I hope Henry Guo's up to it. I know there's some other people on the official site. I'm not going to flash it, but you can pull it up. Henry Guo is listed as a speaker, but I also saw another site. I think Kevin Cage tweeted it about the speakers there, and there was some other. I think Niranel was on there, and some other like labs people and some association people there speaking. So we'll see, but the head list for the speakers is Henry Guo. So we'll be listening to that. I know how we talk about like events, like crypto events, you know, we'll talk about some of the ones that happen in the summer months, and like this one, like I'm not a big events person, to be honest. Like I'll reap what comes out of it and then move on, but like this event's like all eyes are on Casper because it is a pivotal moment. It is labs showing Prove AI, which is their flagship product. Okay, and so if we're talking about the adoption story of the Casper network, this blockchain, and we're talking about Prove AI, which is the tool utilizing that, this event sort of matters like a lot, right? And so this is the moment we've been waiting for. I'm not expecting price appreciation overnight, right, Matt? Are you expecting a 5-cent Casper tomorrow? Or not a 5-cent Casper. I mean, it could be a 5-cent. Actually, I would love a 5-cent Casper tomorrow. Actually,
give it to me. No, I don't expect ever an immediate price appreciation from these events. This is more about just your long-term fundamental research and understanding of the technology that's being built on top of these networks. And it is something I'm very excited about. I've been using ChatGPT, for example, for quite some time now to do a lot of work stuff. And I use it for non-work stuff as well, but primarily for work stuff. And we're on 4.0, I think now is the variation that we're on. And it's gotten so much better. Like ChatGPT is dialed in compared to when I was even using it, even let's say 18 months ago. So, I'm excited to see the first instance of Prove AI. I know that especially with a company like IBM, you want to have as polished of a product as possible because you have a lot of reputation on the line. Let's also consider that, right? You're not a new company coming out swinging, just trying to make a good impression. You're a company that people like and trust and do business with, and you're a multi-billion-dollar company. So you have to be very careful about what you bring out. But I'm very excited about it. I know that the AI governance is a very important factor. And again, it's not sexy. It's like when we talk about API 3. Nobody's jumping up and down about API 3 because oracles aren't sexy.
We are
so necessary. We are, right? And, especially with the nice price appreciation we had recently. But nonetheless, people don't jump up and down about essential pieces of technology because it's not sexy and fun to talk about. But AI governance is so crucial. And you look at other companies, not necessarily just ChatGPT, there's so many people that will maybe want to utilize the Prove AI software if it really is that good to help better teach their own programs and machines to become better at combating misinformation. And, like you said with the metal of the potato chip example, like tossing out pieces of misinformation and bad data to see how good it is at identifying that bad data. So it's very important technology. I'm very excited about it, but I don't expect an immediate price reaction based on, the demonstration out there. I've seen a lot of great demonstrations. If you guys ever get the opportunity to go to an XRP Ledger Dev Summit, you will become one of the most educated people walking out of there. And the demonstrations are very, very exciting. Some of it goes straight over my head, but a lot of it I did absorb, and I'm feel a lot better knowing what I know now about XRPL. So same thing with Casper here. I'm excited to see it, and we'll kind of see what comes of it.
Maddie, I think we talked a lot about Casper here, and I think if we would be doing a disservice if we didn't just go to the charts, because that's like the meat and potatoes that got it for me, right? So when you were teaching me early on just about charting, when you started showing me the charts, it mattered a whole lot of it. In some respects, it mattered more than some of the fundamental pieces we were talking about, right? So take us to the charts, give us a little background, a little history about Casper, and then where do we see this going into this bull run?
Right. That's exactly right. We're in the business of making money, not about being excited about technology. So let's take a look at the Casper chart here. And if you guys are not new with this here, you guys have probably seen this look before. We're gonna come down to the daily again, but what I want to show you guys, and one of the most important things that a lot of people are not thinking about, and it's because they don't really understand how markets move, and they don't understand the importance of liquidity zones and market makers. So when we fell from grace in the 2.5 to 3 cent region, which is where a lot of people have averages right away, right? So that's going to be a break even for a lot of people as we kind of come back up to those prices. When you develop a range for this long, we're on a 3-day chart here, team, so each little tick here represents 3 days of price action. We dipped our toes into this range here for just about 750 days. So for 750 days, this is where most of the trading volume happened. This capitulation here, we all know exactly why that happened. You had Iran launching rockets, you had bad economic news, you had a network outage, and that network outage lasted several days. So when the price, when the network came back online again, people were able to undelegate, panic sell, you had further capitulation. Most of that selling is done. I haven't really seen any crazy selling over even the last month and some change here. It's been actually developing a decent pocket. Now, why am I pointing out this liquidity pocket to you guys? Because when we look at current market to the bottom of that range here, it's just about a 2x, little over a 2x to get back to that range. However, when we re-enter that range and we're back in a more liquid pocket, you're going to have a much larger flurry of orders kicking off as we get back into that pocket. So think about some of the alts that you've seen, even some of them that we've talked about here, API3, Zcash. They can turn around like that. You think that the consolidation is going to last forever. There's nothing suggesting other than just a strong support level that price is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and then wham, 50% candle, 60% candle. And then all of a sudden the sentiment turns around. Let's look at the daily though here, because I want you guys to look at what's happening here on a more granular level. So one of the things that we've talked about a lot on the show is we lost the 50-day moving average back here in March of this year, right? So we had the markets heating up in March, then we saw the markets, cool back down. So rejection off the 50-day, rejection off the 50-day. Look at this over in here, rejection off the 50-day here, big old rejection there. You guys can see that we've had such a horrible inability to get back above that. In fact, even back here in September, inability to get back above that. We've recently started showing behaviors that the 50-day moving average is potentially ready to be flipped in here. And if we looked at the Zcash chart, which we don't have time for today, we could see the 50-week moving average is acting a lot how the 50-day moving average is acting in this example, where you had rejection for like roughly 6 to 7 months, and then once you flipped it back over, you had 4 or 5 tests showing that that's a new level of support. We have on a trend line basis, we are technically making higher highs and higher lows. Now, of course, I'd like to see this a lot more aggressive, but left to right, that's higher highs and higher lows. Now, of course, I don't want to see this become a bear flag, and I don't want to see this offer more bearish continuation. But if we're able to invalidate this flag and start to see some impulsive waves higher, we really could start to see an uptrend form in here. What we really want to flip here is this level right here. If we can get over 1.46, 1.5 cents, we'll just call it 1.5 cents so you guys have a nice round number. We have technically started an uptrend. Now, obviously, macro, weekly chart, we got a lot of work cut out for us. But on a daily chart basis, if you can flip this level as a new support level, you've technically reversed the trend. You have started to create a series of higher highs and higher lows. So we've seen a lot of examples in the altcoin market. We have these flagging structures that are getting validated. Ethereum is a good example of that. A variety of others have started to invalidate their bear flags. And if we can see that example here in Casper, we could easily start to see 2.5, 3 cents, and obviously beyond from there. So that's what I'm looking at here. Obviously, if you guys want more regular updates, check us out at Crypto Charge. We cover this chart, I would say, at least 3 times a week, if not 4.
Great charting, Maddie. I'm very excited for higher prices. A lot of things that are looking good right now. We're getting closer to the election. I know a lot of people pin that up with new all-time highs in Bitcoin, and I think they're wrong, but hey, whatever. I think we're on a different regime now with Bitcoin. We're in different territory now. I even ran it past my boy Dan Habib. I was like, hey, listen, I'm hearing all these people online saying we're like 7 to 9 days now or whatever from a new all-time high, and I think we're under a new regime. What do you think? And he was like, Well, yeah, look at the Bitcoin halving. We're 6 months out from the Bitcoin halving, and we still haven't seen, that real conviction and new all-time high. We're just under a new regime, and this is a guy I really respect. Big macroeconomy guy, very deep into the fundamentals of Bitcoin. And I was just asking him because, like, I hear all these things from Lark and Bit and, whoever, even Rect, sometimes will even point to in the coming days of a new all time high. And we just can't, you know, count and bank on those things, right? We've done our due diligence in the bear market, right? And we must continue that as we are here, because if you guys were here before and you guys got to see the euphoria, that shit kicks off fast, right?
Yeah.
And you do not want to be making hardcore decisions in that moment, right? I got to watch everyone fail last time, all these losers like straight up talk a big game, and they all freaking failed last time, because once it gets euphoric, plans change, and it's like bullshit, make a plan and stick to it, right? And so that's what I'm going into this bull run here, Maddie. I have made a plan and I am sticking to it. It's all in my Notion. What I am doing this bull run is there, and I'm not going to deviate for nobody, right? And
Right.
so I'm very excited for this bull run, team. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like. We covered a lot of good Casper stuff today. This might be a good one to come back to if you want. We also did go way the frick over. It's almost 41 minutes now. So you got a double show today. You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, we might show up for Ask Maddie this week. I don't know. Maddie, they got a double show. Should we give them Ask Maddie this week?
I don't know. You guys let me know if you want to ask Maddie this week.
Kill the like button, all right, and ask a bunch of questions, and we might bring it up on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific if the smash the like button is completely obliterated. Maybe like 1K likes. Maybe I really want to see 1K likes from you guys. So if you guys love the Casper content, we will see you guys on another show. And if we're not going to see you there, show up today. Later on today, we're at Crypto Charge. Matt's giving a show. We'll be in the Discord, all that good stuff, and we will be talking about the IBM TechXchange this week in the Discord. So you're gonna want to be there. Use code YouTube. But team, we will see you on Wednesday if you kill the like button. Bye.